What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to All Things Football. It's been a while, but the Euros have started. I mean, today especially, I think has been the best day so far. But I mean, all of the games, I guess, up to now have been quite a spectacle. Belgium won 3-0, Lukaku with the brace. England managed to win their first. I think the stat was they hadn't won a Europa. They hadn't won a Euro 20. Oh my gosh. They hadn't won a European Championship game, the opening game ever. I think this today was the first one. Raheem Sterling with a goal back in his hometown, which is I think something quite romantic about that. Unfortunately for Denmark, Christian Eriksen, I think, suffered a cardiac arrest on the pitch. Thank God now he's back alive and back in decent health, the doctors say, but it's very, 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 very unlikely that he'll be taking part in the tournament, or maybe playing football again. Finland did manage to secure a 1-0 victory in that match. I think we need to start with that, first of all.
Yeah, definitely.
Because football is one thing, but it's never nice, irrespective of whether it's football, rugby, or just normal life, seeing something like that and having it focused on the way it was absolutely disgusting. I think it wasn't enjoyable. It was a bit of confusion and a bit of shock for me. It instantly brought back Fabrice Mwemba's incident a few years ago when he played for Bolton, but I just think when you just don't really know what to say because it's just something. It's just so shockingly bad.
Yeah, such a shock because obviously he collapsed and obviously everyone could see that. So obviously it's hard for them to just stop that immediately. But then what happened is I literally saw everything happen, and that is if he, God forbid, didn't stay alive, then that would have been in the back of everyone, millions worldwide, in their minds, seeing they would have witnessed someone potentially passing away. And I think the broadcasters just didn't do enough to stop the scenes, and they just prolonged it for too long, way too long. But thankfully Eriksen is, as he said, well, and probably won't take part in the tournament anymore. But
I mean, obviously it was broadcast on BBC in the UK. If you're not watching this in the UK, BBC is one of our broadcasters, but foreign cameras were used, so it wasn't the BBC's cameras. But the course that I studied at university, I studied journalism. So in the 3 years I have been at uni, I've experienced working in a makeshift TV studio, which is part of the university facilities, and I've experienced the communication that goes on, the buttons that have to be pressed, the time it takes for something to be said and then executed. 20 minutes or 15 minutes, however long it was, is 20 minutes or 15 minutes too long. It takes no more than 10 seconds to cut back to the studio, or in the end, they cut to a different program. It was like a country show. They could have done that after 30 seconds. I think whoever was in charge of, what actually went on, there needs to be some sort of disciplinary action because it's not ethical. It is not morally right. The cut to the wife crying. They zoomed in on Eriksen's face when the players formed a shield, like a barrier around him to stop people seeing. It was everything about it wasn't right. And to anybody out there who was watching it, we have an Instagram. If you're not feeling all right, feel free to message it because it wasn't a nice thing to see. I didn't like it.
Yeah, it was. It was so sad just watching it. And I just had to reach out. I think I sent you a message. I sent other people messages because I just couldn't believe what was going on. As obviously said, the BBC, they're not the ones physically filming it, but the producers decide what cameras are being selected. So obviously they chose those cameras to broadcast it, and obviously that was not the right thing to do.
But anyway,
we have to move on.
In all fairness, anyway, the match, beside from that incident, it's not. I don't think Denmark were that good.
It was too. I think having to experience that trauma and then go and play a match I personally, I think it's kind of hard to obviously play under circumstances, but at the end of the day, they couldn't really change when they play
Yeah.
because everything's already organized. So I mean, it's kind of hard to judge them in that one game. Maybe the next game Denmark would improve, but for Finland, I think it's their first ever like
Win.
win in the Euros or any
Yeah.
like sort of championship. And yeah, I think there's not really much to say because Denmark obviously didn't play too well. Finland scored with, I cannot pronounce his name. I know I'm not going to even attempt to to pronounce his name.
Call him my man.
Number 20, the strike partner for Puiki, scored, and yeah, Finland got the 3 points.
Yeah, I just want to say as well, a special shout out to Hradetsky. I think that's how you pronounce the goalkeeper's name. Penalty save in the match. But in general, I will say his overall performance was really shaky. It's something that was highlighted by the commentators during the match. He doesn't look comfortable.
Like a professional.
Yeah. The thing is though, I put that down solely to nerves. This is his first international tournament. He's been a mainstay for Bayer Leverkusen in the Bundesliga for at least, well, I don't think it's just Leverkusen, but for the last 8 years, I think at least he's been a solid keeper, one of the better keepers in the league. So I think after this match, once the nerves are out of the way, Finland might surprise us. They might qualify because I think all you need is 4 points and they already have 3.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised to see them go through whether or not it's second or third. And maybe they could be the new Iceland.
Potentially. I mean, now they've got 3 points. They can only push forward. That will obviously give them confidence going into their next game. And as for Denmark, was saying that I think they can only improve from this. And I do expect them to improve with their team. They do have a decent team. And yeah, I think we can move on. The opening game was on Friday, and that was Italy versus
a team of Jose Mourinho's. Yeah. That's what that match was.
Yeah, Turkey, Italy.
Yeah, you know what? I expected way more from Turkey. In a way, I wasn't surprised because of the strength that Italy possess. They're a team that passed very well under Mancini as well. They're very, very resolute in defense. They don't concede a lot, but they've started to score more goals. Well, they've started to score more than they were scoring before he came in. It's an amazing stat. They haven't lost in, I think, 2 years now. And they're carrying on the form into the tournament. Players like Insigne, Berardi, especially Immobile as well. They've got world-class players in attack. And when you have players like Nicolo Barella and especially Jorginho in the midfield as well, you're going to dominate matches, and Turkey didn't have anything to give back.
Yeah, and with Italy, they're definitely dark horses for the Euros. I think Alex mentioned it in the last episode that he sees them as a dark horse, and I think I agree with him because the way they played, dominated the ball, and also got 3 goals as well.
Yeah.
So definitely a team to watch out for. I think they should easily qualify or win their group. And there was it Italy's goalkeeper. He recently signed for PSG. Donnarumma.
Did he? Oh, I don't know. I thought you said Turkey's keeper. Sorry.
No, not Turkey. Italy's.
Yeah, Donnarumma's. I think he's 22 now. I believe he's been Italy's first choice for 3 years. You wouldn't think he's that young. He's a man mountain. He's a very, very mature player as well. From what I've seen of him, I think he won. I think Italy do it. They give out MVP awards, like the best keeper, best midfielder, defender, striker. I think he won the MVP for the keeper this year. So he's a quality keeper, but he didn't have much to do in the game. I expected more of his teammate Çalhanoğlu and recent French champion Burak Yilmaz in attack. I think Yilmaz had one chance, but a horrible dive, tried to win a penalty off Chiellini. It's not something you like seeing in the game, but he just didn't have much to offer.
I feel like Turkey, they just weren't. They have good players, but they just weren't composed in that game. Whenever they got the ball, they gave it back to Italy, and Italy were back on the front foot. Which is, as long as if they just were a bit more composed and could string a few passes around and grow in confidence, I feel like they could have done better. Maybe nerves got the better of them.
Yeah.
Were they playing in Turkey?
It was at It was in Rome. It was in Rome. Italy
Oh
were the
yeah,
home
it's in
team.
Rome. Okay, yeah, Italy did have home advantage.
Italy weren't the home team on the fixture, but
They weren't the home team,
yeah,
but they were the home team.
yeah,
Yeah, so
that's
maybe
that's
obviously
something that's when we come to the end of the episode, I want to give my 2 cents on the location and all this home team stuff because it's not something that sits well with me. But with the nerves that you speak about, Turkey have been a consistent team in European Championships and World Cups, but it's the European Championships. I think after the first match day, might be too late for some teams, but that's when a lot of players and teams starts to settle because Turkey are not a bad team. They have been a consistently good team for at least 20 years now. They've always had a good crop, at least 3 to 5 like good players that play for top teams in the top leagues, but they just couldn't string passes together. And whether or not you play in League Two or the Premier League, you're a professional footballer, and that's the basic. Is something in your game that is a basic requirement. So expect to see a much better performance from Turkey in the next game.
Yeah, there has to be a response. But on to the next game, Group A, Wales, Switzerland, 1-1 draw. Mbolo for Switzerland, he had a good game.
It's about time.
Yeah. He's a name I've heard for a while now. And yeah, he's starting to show what he's about.
I mean, you have Wonder Kids, but Real Mbolo is a wonder adult because he's been around for a very, very long time
Very
now.
long.
He's just been cursed with injuries. It's obviously not very good for him, but I don't think this will be the tournament that kickstarts his career or anything like that. But it's Switzerland and the national team have showed a lot of faith and trust in him, even though he hasn't been performing the best for his club over the past couple of years. There was a 5-minute spell in the match. He had a chance before he scored, and it just seemed to click for him. Then he did score, and I really thought Switzerland were going to see it out, but in 2016. Wales just seem to be inspired when they get to international tournaments. And Kiefer Moore, the Cardiff striker, not the biggest name on a team sheet when you have players like Bale and Aaron Ramsey, but he was the one who grabbed the equaliser. Yeah.
You cannot. When you mention big names, you have to include Daniel James. Don't disrespect Daniel James.
Do you know what's crazy?
Man United.
I didn't not mention him on purpose, but it just didn't even cross my mind. Like
he's a starter for Wales.
Yeah. I mean, I was surprised that they managed to grab the equalizer, but at the same time, Wales are a team of battlers and they fight. They fight until the very end. I do think they'll progress. They just need a win now, and they'll have the 4 points, the threshold. I don't know. Switzerland just don't. I don't think they're the same team that they were 4 years. Well,
they
five,
do have
5 years
players such as Shaqiri, who at international level performs.
Yeah.
And obviously Jacques in midfield. But yeah, as you said, there's not many standout players in that Swiss team. And that makes you feel like they're definitely going to qualify or definitely going to get far in the competition.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps that they do have a good goalkeeper in Sommer.
Yeah, he's a consistent performer at a very, very top level. But what I was confused about, Dennis Zakaria, he wasn't starting.
Yeah, he didn't start.
He came on, but all of the talk, he's been linked to the top clubs in Europe. He's a young player. He starts for Mönchengladbach and has been for the past couple of years. Why do you think he doesn't get into the Swiss team? Because they weren't very good.
I feel like it's based on experience.
Yeah.
It's what it is, especially in the opening game. Just like for England, we'll get into the England game, but it's the same. Usually start with players who are more experienced, and then because this is the opening game, you want to do well. You don't want to start someone who's never done it before and potentially they don't play well and the team doesn't play well. So I guess that might be a reason why Zakaria didn't play, but he is obviously definitely a good player.
Yeah, he's one for the future.
And the guy for the present, Romelu Lukaku, Belgium 3, Russia 0. Meunier as well got a goal, but Lukaku was the main man of the brace.
Yeah.
And he's just been performing. His performances this season have just been amazing. Inter Milan and now at international level, he's just been doing it consistently, especially for Belgium. He's their top goal scorer, I think, ever in history.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's performing now. As he said off the stream, he's number one, probably to get Golden Boot.
Yeah, he's 9-4 odds-on favorite to win the Golden Boot, and he's leading the way so far.
Yeah, and Belgium, literally, it was too easy for them. Russia didn't do anything, I don't think.
I made a mistake. I just said 9-1. I meant to say 9-4. But I think with Lukaku, it was trendy. It was funny to make memes and hate on him and criticize his touch. But that was only at Manchester United. We bought him for 75 million or something because of the player he was at Everton, because of the potential he has and still had and still has, and his finishing ability. He came out and said a couple of days ago, I think, the first 3 months that Conte had him at Inter Milan, all he did was training with his back to goal, to work on his touch, to work on his hold-up players, ability to turn and just absolutely kill defenders with his pace and strength. And you can really see that he's reaping the rewards. He's a different animal at Inter Milan. He's bulked out in a good way, because when he was at Manchester United, he was overweight, but it wasn't with pure muscle. It was with fat because he wasn't able to digest foods. When he went to Inter Milan, literally within, I think it was 10 days, a week and a half, they realized why his body was the way it was. He wasn't able to digest certain foods. And at 2 years at Man United, they weren't able to find it out. It was, every time I see him play, and every time I look at the score sheet and there's Lukaku goal, Lukaku brace, Lukaku assist, I'm like, we missed out. We missed out big time. Because I know Ollie made the personal decision he didn't fit into the way we play, but the way he's playing now, he'd be perfect for the way we play. His touch has improved. His play with it, it's 10 times better. And it's not even like he didn't score a lot of goals for us, because he did. Imagine the player he would be with us now. But for his country as well, he's guaranteed goals every time he plays. I wasn't able to watch the whole match because I was at work, but I got a notification that Belgium scored. Before I even looked who scored, I knew it was Lukaku because of the threat he possesses. And this is without Eden Hazard and Kevin De Bruyne, by the way.
Exactly. This is a Belgium team that, as you said, lacking 2 star players. And yet they're just comfortably winning 3-0 against Russia, who were decent sides at the World Cup. Maybe they had a home advantage, but they still were a decent team. And Belgium just tossed them to the side like it was nothing.
I believe the match was in. I'm not even going to say that because I think it was in Russia.
Yeah, it was in Russia, St. Petersburg. Wait.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
think it
was
was
Russia.
I'm going to check. It was St. Petersburg is Russia, but I'm just going to triple check. Yeah, it was in St. Petersburg Stadium. So Russia technically do have the home advantage there. But Belgium were just too good. I believe a few weeks ago, maybe a month and a half ago, I spoke on here about how I was unsure about the world ranking. Yeah, Belgium are ranked number 1 in the world. I don't think they're the best team in the world, but they look like they can go a long way in this tournament, especially when you have Kevin De Bruyne and Eden Hazard coming back. Not sure when Kevin De Bruyne is going to be playing because of the injury he did pick up in the Champions League final. But when Lukaku's on form, I mean, you're going to outscore everyone you come up against.
And what I would say, Hazard did come on towards the latter stages of the game, and obviously he doesn't look as fast as he once was at Chelsea. However, he was still trying to get at Russia, and he did have a few glimpses of what he can do. So I feel like Hazard's slowly getting back to his best. Obviously not. He's nowhere near the levels he was at, but you can still see what he's trying to do and what he can do as well.
Yeah.
But on to today's games. Austria 3, North Macedonia 1. This game, who the scores for Austria? I'm not going to pronounce these names.
You got Liner, I think, scored the first goal.
Greg,
man, say Greg. Arnautovic in from the cold. Does he still play football in China?
He probably does. To be honest.
Let me
Yeah, Shanghai plays in Shanghai.
Oh, Gregorich.
Yeah,
Liner Gregorich and Arnautovic. We have to talk about the first goal. Austria are a team that they have a few star players. You've got David Alaba, plays for Real Madrid now. You've got Marcel Sabitzer. You've got Marko Arnautovic. And then you have eight of the players that started today play in the Bundesliga. They have a good team, a good crop of players. They might not be household names like other countries, but they're a well-worked side. And although they didn't play the best football today, they definitely have room to grow. They're not going to get far in a tournament, but I don't think they're as bad as people think they are. But for their first goal,
that was an amazing pass from Sabitzer. And yeah, the one pass and then Lena just finished it from that tight angle as well.
It was almost like his foot was higher than his head. He was very, very high in the air. Very controlled finish.
I mean, the keeper was not really covering that side very well, but it was a great finish.
It was. I mean, I'm not a keeper. Keepers play a different sport to us, but maybe the keeper just didn't expect him to even touch it, because it's not a natural position for your foot to be in. It looks almost impossible to score from that angle, especially with the pace on the ball. It was such a controlled finish with the inset of his foot. But that put them 1-0 up. But Goran Pandev, North Macedonia's hero, 37 years old at the moment. To be perfectly honest, I thought he was older than that. I'll be honest. He managed to grab the equalizer for them. I think it's their first goal in a European Championships. And I mean, it was only him that was going to score that. But massive mistake at the back from, I want to say, Hinteregger and their goalkeeper. Then it left it for Pandev to just slot it into a half-empty net.
Yeah, literally. But then apart from that, Austria dominated the game. Obviously, they didn't play the best football, but they got the lead with Gregorich in the 78th minute. And then Arnautovic, he didn't even start the game. He came off the bench and then just finished it off. And I don't know what his celebrations were about.
I won't lie, I didn't see the celebrations.
Apparently, he just being like so, I don't know, aggressive in his celebrations. His teammates had to pull him away.
I will say though, I'll give a lot of credit to North Macedonia. They're better than I thought they were. Before Gregorich gave Austria the lead, there was about, I say, 8-minute spell where every time North Macedonia got the ball, I thought they were going to put it in the back of the net. Elif Elmas, the attacking midfielder for them, plays for Napoli. Obviously not the best player, but he's probably Macedonia's best attacking threat. He had a couple of chances to put them ahead, and I wouldn't have been surprised if Austria lost that, came out with a loss, because North Macedonia were very, very high on confidence, and it's actually a shame they couldn't make more of it. And obviously as well, they do have Alioski at left back, the Leeds player. He's quite good, and I will say, I don't know what Marcelo Bielsa is doing at Leeds, but you're talking about Calvin Phillips and the two players that played today, Phillips and Alioski. They do not look tired. They look like they are very fit. Number 45.
It's because of the way they train. Their training is so intense.
Yeah, it's you. At the moment, Europe is very warm. Heat blazing down at Wembley today, and it was very, very warm as well in the Macedonia match. Murder ball, that is what they do at Leeds, where they just run. They can't start running or something.
There's no outs. They just run. Yeah,
and you could see it. I think it was literally the 73rd minute. Alioski, the left back, remember. Elmas, I think it was Elmas who had, or number 17, had the ball on the halfway line, and they were on a counter attack. Alioski from off the screen, sprinting in the 73rd, 74th minute, and caught up, made up about 15 to 20 yards, and I think it's just amazing. You can really, really see what Bielsa's doing in terms of fitness at Leeds, and it was my eyes opened and my mouth dropped. It was nice to see, but unfortunately they lost. They counted for nothing in the end.
Yeah.
So.
But On to the final game of today. It's coming home. England 1, Croatia 0. We've made up for the semi-final defeat, and we've won our first game in the Euros, the opening game. Raheem Sterling with the goal, as you mentioned in the intro. Wembley, born and bred, and back in Wembley to score the winning goal.
Yeah, it was. Actually, let's start with the lineup.
Yeah,
because I think more than anything, that's what caused the most issues. I just want to start with what is going on. Gareth Southgate, you bring the best left back in Europe this season, and the left back that's just won the Champions League, who is very, very high on confidence, and is also one of the better left backs in Europe. You originally bring 4 right backs, one of them drops out, and you replace him with a centre back. And in the opening game, you play a right back at left back, who's probably played there 5 to 10 times in his whole career, who probably should have started at right back, if I'm honest. And you don't include one of the left backs in the match they scored at all.
Yeah.
And Luke Shaw's on it. None of it made sense. I tweeted, we were always going to win that game. The win wasn't in any doubt. You could have put Sancho at left back and we probably still would have won that game. We weren't going to lose. So in a way, his team selection was always going to be justified. But if you're talking about you include Trippier for his qualities are dead ball situations. He wasn't on corners. He didn't take the free kicks. He's not a natural left back. He's not very good with his left foot. There wasn't any overlapping runs because he just kept cutting back on his right foot.
He has to do the underlap, but there was none of that either.
It was such a confusing inclusion because if you want to talk about experience, Luke Shaw has experience. He's played international football before. He's played at the highest level. He's played Champions League football. He's played in the Europa League final. He's not a small game player, Luke Shaw. Yes, he doesn't have World Cup or European Championship experience, but neither did Kieran Trippier at the World Cup. So that selection just really didn't make sense to me.
I think he just chose him, as he said, because he has played at that level or international level before. But then again, it doesn't really make any sense. Maybe he thought, there's going to be a free kick and Trippier's going to score another free kick. I mean, he did have a free kick and he just hit the wall. So, I mean, that didn't pay off. But apart from that, Luke Shaw or Ben Chilwell really would have just added another dimension to the game if they had started.
Yeah, I mean, you have Luke Shaw, who throughout the whole season has shown his ability to get up and down the pitch at will. And his fitness has improved throughout. As the season's gone on, his fitness has improved in it. And you can see it. You can see it with the eyes. You don't even need to look at his stats. You can see it with your eyes. You have Ben Chilwell, again, it's very similar to Luke Shaw. Very, very good going forward. Not as good going back. I'd kind of put him on the same level as Trippier there. But I thought at least Luke Shaw was going to get subbed on. At the very, very least. Because now you have him with no match fitness or not a lot of match sharpness for the next game. So now you're going to have to play Trippier at left back again. Then you play him again, and then you have to play him again, and again and again, and then you get to the quarterfinals, and now look, you got Mbappe on the right, playing against Trippier on his unnatural side. I'm scared because that wasn't the only selection that confused me. I do believe. Again, the team sheet. I mean, the result was always a win.
Yeah, we're always going to win. Yeah, definitely.
So anything I say, people can just be like, "But we won. We won." Grealish should be starting.
I think I want to hear your point first before I say mine.
Grealish should be starting. He's better than Foden. He's better than Mount. He's one of our better creative players. Sancho shouldn't not be in the matchday squad. However, I have to say that has to have something to do with maybe a possible transfer because
let's not start that news. Let's not start that Sancho nease.
No, it's the thing is, it's
what are you saying about Grealish? Firstly,
Grealish has to start. Yeah, I would have. If I'll just say what I think the team should have been. I know Calvin Phillips had a great game, but I wouldn't have started him. But now that I've seen him play, you could just say you're wrong. But I would have started Bellingham next to Declan Rice. I wouldn't have started Phil Foden. I would have started Grealish on the left, Sancho on the right, Mason Mount in front of Bellingham and Declan Rice, and then obviously Harry Kane up front. Because when we made the substitutions, Rashford came off of Phil Foden, so then Rashford's on the right, which isn't a very good position for him. I feel like it just changed up the play completely, and then Harry Kane had no service. When you have someone like Sancho who can do both, and then someone like Grealish, you play in two players who will just feed the ball to Harry Kane, the best finisher in the Euros apart from Lewandowski. But when you brought on Rashford and Sterling, and when you have Sterling and Rashford on at the same time, Kane gets nothing. He doesn't get any service. So I feel like when you have Phil Foden on the right with Sterling on the left, he's kind of having to provide for two players there. I didn't think the balance was right, if I'm totally honest with you.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, because within that game, the first half, Kane literally had nothing. That's why people were saying, "Oh, take off Kane. He's not doing anything. Take off Kane." But
yeah, what can he do? Anyway.
Yeah, he had a good game, but what could he do with, as you said, Foden and Sterling on both wings? Doesn't really work out for Kane in that position. But you're mentioning Grealish should have started. Thing is, what I think about Grealish, I think he is better than Foden. He is our best. He is the best in that position. Foden, Mount is better than both of them. However, I think with Southgate or what he's trying to do, he wouldn't start Grealish because I feel like he's much better to come off the bench. I think in a tournament situation, he's more effective in that role. Come on, like last 20 minutes, win a foul or two. Most of their defense will be tired by then. You're going to push them back even more. And I think Grealish is that type of player. Yes, he could start a game, but then he's just going to be getting fouled all game, and the team will eventually just mark him. Whereas if he comes late into the game, I feel like it can be more effective.
I just feel like that's disrespectful to Grealish, though.
No, I think
he's a super sub. Grealish is too good to be a super sub. He's world. He's I want to say he's world class.
Not yet,
but he's just so good on the ball. His vision is impeccable. His ability to dribble like a 5'7" pace merchant, but then at the same time have the body strength to hold off the biggest player on the pitch. We don't have that. He's the only one in our team that can do that. What I noticed in the game is Harry Kane drop into the centre circle to pick up the ball. It's not Tottenham. This is England. We're playing in the tournament. We need Kane in and around the box as much as possible. But he was doing that because he wasn't getting the service that he needed. Because you have Sterling there, who's also relying on Phil Foden to give him the service. Because at Manchester City, the way they play is it's just tap-ins. And Raheem Sterling is the one that taps it in. He's the one that gets stuff laid on the plate for him. And Phil Foden's one of the players that lays it on the plate for him. Harry Kane is also a player that, to be fair, this season he hasn't changed. He's changed up his game a little bit to sort of a playmaker / striker.
Yeah,
so he can do
10.
both. But in reality, it was Phil Foden and Mason Mount supplying the balls to them. What I think we need is Grealish and Sancho. Because Sancho can do the Rashford role and the Sterling role, but also can do the Grealish role. And then you also have Jack Grealish, who can keep the ball up. His ball retention is amazing. His vision is great. His passing range is amazing as well. He can also find the back of the net, but he can also put it on a sixpence for Harry Kane. So that means Harry Kane can just focus on just scoring. And that's how we won the Golden Boot at the last World Cup. Yes, he had a couple of penalties, but he also had a lot of chances. And when you have Sancho on the right as well, you have someone that if we need to counter, we have the pace. And if we want to keep the ball, he can also do that. I just don't think later on in the tournament that lineup is going to work at all. Against the better teams, that's not going to work. I can't see it.
Yeah. I think, as you mentioned, I think Sancho definitely on the right-hand side. I feel like he's our best natural winger because he will get goals and assists at the same time, whereas someone like Rashford he won't really get assists. He's more of a goal scorer. Rashford actually went at number 9. Well, he did play in strike for like a few minutes of the game when Kane went off, and then obviously Calvert-Lewin came on. Then Rashford went over to the left. So I feel like in some games, I feel like he might actually use Rashford in that striker position if Kane was to come off. But at the same time, Calvert-Lewin is also there. And I think that was a problem with not having pace up front as well, because Kane is not the fastest. Yes, we had Sterling making those runs, but then that's it. Kane was dropping deep far too much. And then Foden, he's not a natural winger. If he had Sancho on the right, it would have added much more to the team.
Before I say what I'm about to say, is Mbappe a winger?
Is Mbappe a winger?
Because he does play on the wing, but I would call him a striker.
I'll say him and Rashford are the same.
For the purpose of this, I'm going to call him a striker. Jadon Sancho is the best winger in the tournament.
Yeah, Sancho is a winger.
Yeah,
okay,
he's the best
if Sancho is a winger, that means Mbappe and Rashford are strikers.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But Jadon Sancho is the best winger in the tournament. You have the best under 21 player in the tournament, I think, and he's not even in the matchday squad. What's the point bringing someone like Sancho? What's the point bringing Grealish? What is the point bringing Chilwell and Shaw? What is the point?
You did say there is potential transfer speculation that could be a reason why he's not in the squad. I don't see any other reason for it.
That's me trying to give Southgate a legitimate
because he did play in the last game.
Yeah. So did Grealish. Grealish won what 3 or 4? I think it was 3 or 4 man of the match awards in his last few games for England, and he doesn't even start. I'm trying to find an excuse for Southgate because he's not in the matchday squad. It doesn't make sense. Like, it actually doesn't make sense at all. Because what if you need someone to come on and put an inch perfect cross in the box? You don't have Ward-Prowse because you left him at home. Trent's unfortunately out injured.
That Ward-Prowse discussion needs to end because he would have even started the game.
If Ward-Prowse was there, he's playing. If Ward-Prowse was there, he's playing.
No. Calvin Phillips has shown why he starts. Declan Rice always going to be on the team sheet. Then Mason
I think Bellingham. I honestly, let me be real. I know Calvin Phillips was an animal today, but I still think Bellingham is better, and I still think he needs to start the next game.
Yeah, Bellingham could potentially be better, but
no, I think he is not potentially.
I feel like Phillips, Bellingham. I don't really mind he plays out of the two of them. It's the same. It's the same with saying it's the same between Actually, no, it's not. Actually, no. Bellingham. Yeah, Bellingham is.
Were you going to say Shaw and Chilwell?
Yeah, I was thinking about Shaw and Shilwell, but it's not. The debate is not that big. But
it's a good headache to have. But at the same time, when you're making dumb decisions like Trippier at left back, the headache is besides the point. It's just, what is he doing?
Yeah, I mean,
it's the next match is against Scotland as well. Remember,
Scotland, yeah, that's going to be a tough game
at Wembley in the European Championship. It's going to be a hostile atmosphere, I would assume. So I do feel like Henderson's going to come back in. Trippier will probably play again. Rashford will probably start. Sterling on the right, Rashford on the left. I don't know if Maguire. I think Maguire might be back for the last game, but not the match against Scotland. I think there's going to be a lot of experienced players in the match on Friday.
We have to hope. I mean, I feel like England should go far. After seeing today, it was a bit easy for England today, I'd say. So I do expect much more from England.
Yeah.
I expect them to get to the final minimum.
I expect them to get to the trophy podium, to be honest.
Yeah. Not the medals, not the second place medals. We need the trophy. We need it. And yeah, you wanted to mention about the fantasy team.
Before we mention that,
league, yeah.
we have to speak about the Netherlands match.
Yes, that was the last game. I was actually just looking at it right now. Dutch beat Ukraine in Thriller 3-2. Dumfries with the winner. He should have scored earlier. He had a chance earlier, had a free header, but he made it up with the header, which obviously won them the game. And I literally just thought the Netherlands were in the driving seat, because it was so easy. Every time they just kept the ball. Wijnaldum, instrumental midfield, the captain. Don't know how Liverpool let him go for free.
Neither do I. Honestly,
I literally would have took him at Man U.
If he didn't play for Liverpool. I wanted him before he went to Liverpool. When he was at Newcastle, even when he was at PSV, when we were signing Memphis Depay, I was thinking, why not just go both? Just get both of them. It could have been a possibility, but unfortunately it didn't happen. Obviously, we're never going to have him. But when he plays for the Netherlands, he's a completely different player. He plays in a more advanced position, which means he's able to influence the play higher up the pitch. He's in and around the box, and he has always been a goal threat for the Netherlands. And obviously, in Van Dijk's absence, he's wearing the armband. So I guess there's that extra bit of emphasis on his performances. But from the first minute, that game was. You knew it was going to be a good game. From when Memphis Depay was running 3/4 of the length of the pitch and pulling off a good save from the keeper, and then Ukraine were just hitting straight back. It was nice to see. And I know I've been talking about club football a lot, but watching Zinchenko in there, his range of passing is good. Like Zinchenko is really, really good on the ball. I didn't realize how good he was. Because obviously he plays in a City team where he's a left back. He's playing out of position because obviously you've got players that are better than him. But watching him today in that match, I just think he could go to a slightly worse team and become an even better player. Because I was watching him ping balls across the pitch like Trent, and it was nice to see.
Yeah, but we were mentioning Wijnaldum. He opened the scoring to make it 1-0. And then obviously Netherlands went 2-0 up, and I thought, it's game over. Weghorst, I think that he's their striker.
Yeah.
He got the second goal. And from then I just thought the game was over. But Ukraine, managed by Shevchenko, legend. They fought back. Yarmolenko, brilliant curler, top left corner. Keeper had no chance.
The curl that ball had on it, I thought it was going well wide.
Yeah, like it started outside the post and then bent back in. So literally, the keeper literally had no chance. And then another name I'm not going to be able to pronounce. I'm not going to try it. I'm not going to try.
Let me try and read it and try it. Come on, if you can do this, I believe Yaremchuk
scored the equalizer in the 79th minute. And I think at that point, the Netherlands were just shocked because it was a great ball from a free kick and it was just an easy header. And from then on, Netherlands they didn't give up. Obviously, they couldn't lose that game or draw that game. So they had to make sure they got the win. Dumfries. Who does Dumfries play for?
PSV. He's the captain, actually. Yeah,
he had a decent game. Only 25 as well.
Only 25? He's been around for ages.
I feel like I haven't really heard of him that much. I guess because I just don't watch that league.
Wait,
he's a defender.
Yeah, he's right back.
And he's playing on the wing. Oh, wing back.
They play 5 at the back.
Okay, it makes sense. No wonder why some of his shots were not as I thought. Because he had one chance in the first half. His first shot, I thought he really should have scored that. But then the keeper saved it.
Oh, Ibs.
What?
I was looking at the fantasy team. Why have you got 7 points?
Because my teams haven't played yet. That's why I have 7 points.
Oh my days. I thought you didn't enter because you're so low.
No, my teams haven't played. There's still 2 more days left of match day 1. I still get like 30 points. Don't worry.
I can still get like 30 points. Oh, mad. Well, yeah, it was a great match, but I think at the end of every episode we do, I'm gonna have a little tiny talk about the Euro 2020 Fantasy League. I didn't mention the prize when I mentioned it in the previous episode, but the winner of the league will get to choose like a football top of their choice, and I'll buy it and post it or whatever. So that's something to give you a bit of an extra incentive. Don't forget about it. At the moment, obviously, we are, I think, halfway through the first match day. I don't actually know who this is, but GSE Walla, with a team name called Karimi Papa, is first with 61 points. He does still have Ronaldo, Pau Torres, and Ferran Torres to play, so I don't know if Ronaldo turns up, he might be already running away with it. I am currently 9th with 38 points, but I still have Gerard Moreno, Bruno Fernandes, Jordi Alba, Ilkay Gundogan to play. So I believe I can get a fair few more points. Ibs is already making excuses.
I'm currently last, and that's because match day 1 hasn't ended. We have 2 more days of match day 1, and I'll get 30 points, and I'll be at the lead.
To be fair to Ibs, he's got only 2 players that have played, Harry Kane and Mount. You can change your captain, by the way, before the end of the match day.
But I can't make subs. How do I make subs? It's not working.
Yeah, because the match day is not over.
Oh, because now I've got Cancelo in my team.
Yeah, he's in your team for good. I'm looking at your team now. Yeah, I can't see. Well, obviously because Cancelo's not there anymore, I can't see your defense getting any points.
What? Pepe,
he's not gonna score goals.
He's gonna keep a clean sheet.
I'm talking about I'm talking about that 1 or 2 points. I'm talking about big boy points. You need to claw your way back up the table because that's what.
Yes, my front three. Okay, Kane didn't score today. Mbappe and Ronaldo are gonna turn up and score.
Last time Ronaldo played against Hungary at the Euros, he scored a hat trick. So,
exactly.
So that's something you can look forward to. Germany will have to try and keep Kylian Mbappe out. Kante is not going to get points. Thiago is not going to get points.
France will keep a clean sheet.
Who in your midfield is going to get points?
Alcantara, Kante, and Mount.
Kante is not going to be assisting or scoring. He's going to just be keeping out the other team.
Yes, Thiago, so that's points.
Spain aren't the tallest team. They're not really going to be scoring from set pieces.
Maybe we'll have to wait and see.
Is Pau Torres even going to start? Come on,
It's about my attackers. I'm all out attack. If you know from the past episodes I've had on this channel, from the Euro 2020 drafts, the Premier League all-time drafts, I'm about the attack.
Yeah,
you know this by now.
It was an all-out on this strike.
It's all about the attack. So goals win you games, and defense is just there. But goals win you games. So it's all about the attack. Yes, and goals gets you points on fantasy.
Your friend Darren, he's struggling, man. He's on 14 points, but the only person who's going to get him any points is Bruno Fernandes because Giroud isn't even going to start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's in the mud. We've got. Is your friend Iman? King Iman? He's on 19 points. He's in the mud as well. He's only got a couple players left to play. He's got that Hungarian midfielder called Nego in the midfield. Cancelo is obviously unavailable. Lucas Hernandez and Andy Robertson. So he's not doing too well.
Lucas Hernandez, is he even going to start?
He should do.
I don't think Digne
is going to push him out of the team. Lucas Hernandez is the starter. Digne is there for backup, I think. All in all, I think there's a big there's a big points gap between me and Eman. Where is Eman again? Eman's on 19. I got double his points. So, I'm trying to win because I want to get myself a new top. You guys, if you end up watching this episode, or if this gets clipped, I'm winning this. I've never won a fantasy league of any kind ever, but this is going to be the first one I win. England, the Euros is coming home, but it's coming home for me as well. I'm winning this fantasy league, and whoever GSE Waller is, I wish you good luck because he's doing very, very, very well.
61 points. That is, yeah, that's very good. Imagine we start this league and none of us, we don't even get to the top 10.
Don't say we.
Yes,
you.
we.
You.
Yeah.
You.
Okay, yeah. I just realized I'm not even in the top 10, and you are. Okay. But yeah, the next games every day. Games tomorrow.
I think Scotland are playing tomorrow against Czech Republic, 2 p.m. kickoff.
Spain are also playing. Who are they playing? Spain versus
Spain are playing
Sweden.
That's the evening kickoff, and then the 5 p.m. is Poland or Mr. Lewandowski versus Slovakia. I'm honestly most interested in Spain versus Sweden because I feel like that's a more evenly matched game than people might realize. Scotland also need to get a win because if they go into Friday's match knowing they need to win, they're going to get battered by England. So I want Friday's match to be a close encounter.
Yeah, it's been a good opening few days of the Euros. There's so much more football to come. I think I love the kickoff times: 2 p.m., 5 p.m., 8 p.m.
I'll be trying to nap in between each match.
It's just perfect. It's perfect. And I hope you guys are enjoying it too.
I got something else to say. Quickly. I need to ask you what your opinion is on the locations of the stadium. Surely it should be every time, because obviously the home fixtures get planned out months before or weeks before. When England are the home team, it should be played at Wembley. When Czech Republic are the home team against England, it should be played in the Czech Republic. There's 6 teams which play all their group games at home. England are one of them. Russia are another one. Surely there's some sort of unfair home advantage there.
I feel like it might have been like that. I feel like it was meant to be like that. However, because of COVID, I think that's probably reduced the amount of travel because of quarantine, things like that, or there's regulations. I feel like that might be a factor. I'm not 100% sure, but it could be. Yeah. But if it's not, then yes, I feel like it's an unfair advantage if that's the case, where obviously we play all our games at home, which is obviously unfair. And I mean, I guess we just have to deal with it, or the players have to deal with it. Obviously, we've been playing behind closed doors for a while now.
Yeah.
I think just having fans back in the stadium, whether they're your fans or not, I think players would be happy just to be playing with fans in the stadium.
I think if England get to the final, 3 home games in the groups, 2 away games in the
quarters and round of 16.
And then semis, and so we could potentially play 5 games at Wembley.
There's literally no excuse to not win, win this.
But then the opening game, Turkey versus not Turkey, Wales, the Wales match played in Azerbaijan. What is the Arsenal versus Chelsea Europa League final was played in that stadium. There have before the pandemic was even a thing. There have always been travel problems with Baku. That stadium in particular is the most impossible stadium to get to, and during a pandemic with travel restrictions and like not just in that country but from different countries, why would you have a match there? 400 Wales fans, I think, for a game in which Wales were technically at home. I think that's terrible. That is terrible, and it's a shame. It's a real shame because you don't get the support that you deserve, and then England have all their home games at Wembley.
Yeah, Wembley. Yeah, it's definitely, obviously, it's all in England's favor.
Yeah,
and I guess England just have to accept that it's in their favor, and obviously grasp the opportunity that they have to have their home crowd behind them every game, almost every game, bar 2 if they get to the semis. But yeah, apart from that, happy to see football on almost every day. I hope you guys are also happy to see it back almost every single day. And yeah, we'll be doing videos like this after every England game. and we hope to post shorter videos on Instagram. If you like, say something happens in the Spain game, oh, David De Gea scores a hat trick. We're gonna obviously talk about. We're gonna obviously.
All right.
We're obviously gonna like post like a short like podcast thing on Instagram and talk about it, because we can't just keep silent until the next England game. So watch out for that. Follow us on at @ATFootball_ on Instagram. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye, guys.